AMD makes a GPU that you can't plug in, Nintendo taking good video games away from you, and Nvidia is done with gamers. They just stop. You don't matter anymore. Let's get into the hot news, everybody. I'm your Brett host. We're going to be going over the hottest tech news that I can find on the internet while you enjoy your breakfast this Monday, May 29th, 2023. We're reporting to you live from Taiwan. We have Computex going on right now. For everybody who's wondering whether or not Reece was able to join us, he was not. I'm really upset about it. Stupid visa process. But we are live streaming all of our Computex adventures over on our Twitch channel, whether it's going to the actual show floor, going out exploring Taipei at night, going to different places that we want to have fun with. You can come check us out over there, and we're also going to be giving away a 13900K RTX 4090 PC if you participate on Twitch and just watch our adventures. So we'd love to have you over there. We're going to start off today talking about the RX 7600 because several different people got their hands on the reference edition of these graphics cards, the made by AMD versions, and what it was found out was that if you tried to plug in an 8-pin that wasn't a dedicated 8-pin but instead was a 6+2 8-pin power connector, it doesn't fit. You're not actually going to be able to provide power to these GPUs. You can see right here that you don't get full insertion because the backplate of the GPU stops it from going all the way in, which is exactly the problem that caused all those power connectors to melt when Nvidia launched their RTX 40 series. Full insertion is necessary all of the time. So this appears to be a problem with only the review samples that are out there, with AMD giving an official statement that the reference design cards that are coming out when people actually get their hands on them will not have this defect. So just take with that what you will. It's not clear how AMD made a mess up like this when it comes to the GPUs. It's good to know that it's not going to come to retail. Still, you got to wonder what happened in development that they weren't checking multiple different types of power connectors to make sure that you could even plug them in the first place. Let me know what you think about AMD not allowing you fully insert it in. While I let you know that today's video is actually sponsored by Unlimited IRL. So we were just talking at the beginning of the show how we're going to be streaming everything that we're doing in Taiwan, and that is because Unlimited IRL hooked us up. They make IRL streaming so easy with their IRL backpack, but also what we're using for our streams is their Solo Connect unlimited data modems that allows us to get unlimited data anywhere in the world. Combine that with a LiveView Solo Pro, we have the ability to bond multiple services together to provide these live streams that we're out and about doing. Unlimited IRL has seamless solutions for the highest quality mobile broadcasts worldwide, and it honestly has been shocking how easy this has worked. We flew to South Africa to try to pick up Reece. We streamed from there, no problem. We flew to Taiwan. We've been streaming from there. We've had a great time with Unlimited IRL. We're very thankful that Unlimited IRL provided the Solo Connect Pro modems for us to be able to use during this trip. So you can check them out at the link in the video description. If you're looking for broadcasting anything while you're out and about, Unlimited IRL has all of those things that you're gonna need to do it. So big thanks to them for sponsoring our streams here at Computex. And hopefully you're enjoying them because we've had a ton of fun. We're going to continue to, and we're going to continue to talk about the 7600 because even though the RTX 4060 Ti doesn't appear like it's selling well, it got its first price drop within 4 hours at some retailers. It looks like the 7600 is experiencing similar treatments, with it having a 13% price cut over with a Spanish retailer who dropped the price by about 20 euro. Now, again, this is not an official price cut by AMD, but it does seem to be that if retailers are dropping prices this quickly, that they're likely not moving that many units. Have you picked up an RX 7600? Do you know anybody who's picked up an RX 7600? I'm curious what our audience has experienced. Let me know down below in the comments. But speaking of dumb things that some people are purchasing, Brett wants to pick up this Project Q from Sony, okay? The little handheld that allows you to play video games remotely, and that's all it does. And we're finding out that it's even dumber than you think it is, because reports are coming out from industry insiders that this little DualSense controller with a 1080p screen on the inside is only going to get 3 to 4 hours of battery life, which is about as good as you can expect out of Sony's controllers. It appears that they're not jam-packing this thing with any sort of battery. I personally want this because I like playing video games in bed while my wife is watching TV, and then that way I can still do that, and we don't have to I don't have a TV with picture-in-picture, so I have to buy a dedicated device to get that done. So I'm gonna need to save some money in order to afford this. And even though Reece is not here in Computex with us, he is still doing UFD deals. He told me he was gonna, so here you go.
Yo, welcome back to UFD Deals, bringing the hottest tech deals on the internet, and unfortunately, I'm still stuck here in South Africa. Our local embassy had far too much of a visa backlog for me to get an appointment in time, which It is what it is. Big F in chat for me, but thankfully the guys made it to Taiwan and they are currently streaming their adventures out and about, so I hope you guys will join me in watching them. But for now, we're going to jump straight into the deals, starting with the IK Multimedia iLoud micro monitors. Now, these may seem pricey for such tiny speakers, but they are so deceptively good sounding. The secret sauce is their internal signal processing, which offers positional compensation, as well as allowing you to tune the frequency response to your room. And at only $229, they are currently $120 off. These things fit in any desk setup in either black or white. It's gorgeous. I really cannot say enough good things about these speakers. But then keeping with the theme of small things, we have this Camry mini PC with an AMD Ryzen 5 5500U. This 6-core 12-thread processor is paired up with 16 gigs of DDR4 RAM and a 512 gig NVMe M.2 SSD. So if you're looking for a nice small form factor desktop PC or even a media PC, you can grab one for only $279.99, making it 42% off or $200 off. And with that, those are the deals for today. You can find these and more linked in the video description down below. But until next time, I'm gonna hand you off back to Brad for the rest of your hot news. Cheers.
And Ford thinks they need to provide a good deal to their customers because one of the issues that people have with buying any sort of electric vehicle, especially in the United States that is not a Tesla, is that the charging networks are not as robust. Companies like Electrify America and the other ones like EVgo simply do not work as flawlessly as the superchargers can for many of the Tesla owners. And so Ford has announced that they're going to be partnering up with Tesla to provide the Tesla actual adapters in their vehicles starting from 2025. And then anybody who's purchased a Ford vehicle that doesn't have that, they will get an adapter that will allow them to use it on Tesla superchargers. That is slightly different than the Tesla Magic Docks that recently appeared that allow you to plug it in to a car like the F-150 Lightning or the Mustang Mach-E. This is just appearing to be a really big partnership and probably is gonna spell the fact that CCS is not gonna be the dominant charger here in the United States, but rather it's going to be the Tesla charger and that the rest of the world will use CCS because of course, that's how it's going to go down. But the CEO of Ford's still saying that Tesla is not going to have their software installed on their vehicles. It's really only going to be the fact that you can charge it at superchargers. The thousands of locations that are available across the US that allow for ease of charging is now going to be available to that network. And while Ford and Tesla are playing nice together, it looks like Nintendo doesn't want to play nice when it comes to Valve because they have issued a DMCA takedown notice of Dolphin emulator, with them going after Valve, saying because the Dolphin emulator violates Nintendo's intellectual property rights, including but not limited to its rights under the DMCA Act. We provide this notice to you of your obligation to remove the offering of the Dolphin emulator from the Steam store, which Dolphin emulator has come out and said that this is going to be delayed a little bit because of the cease and desist that was put on Valve for this. They say that they're currently investigating our options and we'll have a more in-depth response in the near future, but this does appear to be a very similar situation to what happened with us, with Nintendo probably putting something like that in writing to YouTube for taking down our video of putting Android on the Nintendo Switch. I've been there. This sucks. Hopefully it doesn't stop it and that we actually do get it, because I can't see how an emulator is violating Nintendo's rights, especially if they're not advertising with it or promoting their own assets. Let me know if you understand the situation a little bit better and how Dolphin emulator might actually be legally culpable, because I'm not sure that they are. And I wasn't sure what ASUS was talking about when they said that they have the first, the highest, and the fastest GPU that's going to be coming out tomorrow, that they're going to be announcing it as part of their Computex promotion. The ROG GPU, at least at some point, was speculated there could have been a 4090 Ti announcement by Nvidia at Computex during the keynote. That didn't happen, which I'll talk about in a second, but a lot of people thinking that this could be an ROG Matrix or an ROG Poseidon GPU, and it turns out that ASUS gave it away in their YouTube posting that it's going to be a Matrix GPU, which I don't think they've done since the 980 Ti, so this is going to be a faster looking hot GPU that they're likely going to have on display here at Computex, which we're going to be streaming. So come watch us over on Twitch in case you want to see it IRL. But they're not the only company getting into GPUs. Gamers Nexus got to check out the fact that Acer is going to be getting into high-end GPUs with an RTX 4090 version with 3-slot water cooling, as well as an undisclosed RX 7900 series GPU that they might be launching at some point. They look good, especially with the Bifrost GPUs that Acer's launched with other companies like Intel. It does appear that they're making a more concerted effort to get into the gaming GPU game. I'm interested to see how this plays out. I do like the designs. Maybe they might take over what EVGA once had with Nvidia. Let me know what you think of the Acer GPUs down below in the comments. And I'm gonna let you know that Nvidia had their Computex keynote, and it was weird at some parts, with it not making a whole lot of sense. It was a very disjointed presentation, but they also basically only talked about AI. Only a passing mention of gaming graphics cards, with them showing off an RTX 4060 Ti at one point, and with gamers them talking about how they have Nvidia's Ace, which allows game developers to bring AI to replace any sort of actual development into mainline story quests, with them showing off a fully AI rendered version of a video game with the shopkeeper giving you a quest to go on. You can tell the dialogue is a little clunky, the audio presentation's a little clunky, and the facial animation's a little clunky, and that's because it's made by AI. But allegedly, this is going to allow game developers to put more resources in developing the main game. Personally, I don't want to see this put in any sort of event that like the user has to go on. I want the story to be written by actual people, because watching this, which you can check it out in the video description, it would feel right if it was an NPC, because NPCs are supposed to be non-playable. They don't really matter too much. You're not supposed to have superb interactions with them. So if they're saying nonsense that isn't super relevant to the story and is generated by AI, that's totally fine. But if developers are going to use this to write things that they used to write, I feel like things are just going to get worse overall. Kyler, what do you think?
I wasn't listening.
Cool. But other hardware that Nvidia showed off at their Computex keynote is the DGX GH200 and Grace Hopper super chips, which you might remember they have shown off before, but now they are announcing that it's in full swing production, with them saying the DGX GH200 supercomputing platform has 256 Grace Hopper chips, which allow for exaflop level computing. And with the Grace Hopper chip, in case you're wondering where all of your VRAM on your RTX 4060 and 4060 Ti went, it went to this: 576 gigabytes of GPU memory, 96 gigabytes of HBM3. This thing is loaded to the gills with all of the memory that you could possibly want. It's not for you anymore, friends. It's for AI. And that's exactly what we're finding out. According to a JP Morgan investigation, Nvidia is going to be the biggest benefactor when it comes to artificial intelligence and how much money is going to be shoved into their pockets, with them saying that up as much as 60% of artificial intelligence revenue will be going directly to Nvidia. Second place is going to be Broadcom, who's expected to bring in 13% of the revenue. AMD and Intel really not going to be a key contributor in the AI market in at least the next year to a couple of years. Nvidia has been making the biggest moves when it comes to AI. You can see that in their share price, which is at an all-time high, up 500% in the last 5 years, going above where they were during the peak mining craze back in 2021. Nvidia is making money hand over fist with this, and when it comes to the Computex keynote, that's essentially why they're hammering it home so much, that they are all about AI, because unlike crypto, which people were saying was revolutionary and Nvidia was making money off of it, they had to lie to their shareholders about how much money they were making, because the general sentiment was that this was a waste. But because the popular positive sentiment of AI is out there, now Nvidia can lean heavily into it and say, yes, this is what we're all about. This is our entire company. We're going to make so much money. We're going to be parts of trillions of dollars of industry. Now their market cap's over $1 trillion. Now they get to show what those tensor cores and everything that they've been working on for the past few years is made of. And it really does come down to the fact that they no longer, at least financially, need to care about gamers. You can see that in all of the presentations that they've been giving lately. You can see it in the effort that they're putting into their launches, into their marketing, into actually providing extra value to the gamer. We are becoming a smaller and smaller subsection of what matters to Nvidia, and it's likely going to be that this is the way it is moving forward, and you will just have to deal with either going on console by AMD or hoping that Nvidia can toss you some of the scraps of the trickle-down effects of whatever they've developed for their cloud supercomputing AI chips, and then you get whatever's left over, like 4 gigabytes of VRAM on whatever the RTX 4050 is going to be, if that ever does come out. Kyler, can you say, please sir, can I have some more scraps?
Please sir, can I have some more scraps?
Well, you can have some more scraps of hot news tomorrow, because we should be back with more of the hottest tech news then.